So some updates. I'll go over a few things and then open the floor up for everybody else. So we're starting to recruit um, students from the class of 2021 to support them as they head to college. So we've been working with BPS very, very closely for the past month plus to just figure out ways to talk to these young people and connect them with Success Boston, with coaches, organizations, and institutions of higher education. It's been going pretty well. I think a lot of you have been at those biweekly meetings with Marsha and Catherine and the BPS. And we also just designed a postcard, a mailer that will be going out to their families at their physical mailing addresses to let them know about Success Boston. It'll hopefully it's be nice and colorful, and we'll tell their parents, hey, like you need some help as you get to college, sign up for this. So really excited about that, but that's going underway. And yeah, if you all have any students that you are working with right now in your organization, your pathway that you know don't have a connection to a Success Boston organization yet, please do let me know, and I can make sure to connect them with someone or have them go to our Success Boston website, and then they can sign up there as well. And then if next up, we also have our summer institute. So for a lot of you probably know about this, but every year we have something that kind of takes place with the coaches meeting for the summer. So we call the Summer Institute. It's a big professional development day. Back when we were in person, it would be all day at the Boston Foundation. But this year is going to be virtual like it was last year. It was 3 days, 2 hours each day, because we don't want to keep you on Zoom from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we're going to do the same thing as last time. We thought it worked pretty well. And last time we had a few folks from institutions of higher education, some partners, some students talk about just best guidance, best practices for supporting students. We had a professor from BU talk to us about how to support students as they were going to switch to remote learning from in person. So really giving us a lot of guidance and best strategies for students to get ready for that, because I mean, you all know that's what it was this year, except for very, very small amount of students who were able to go in person. And this year we wanted to do something similar with slightly different topics, but a lot of the same as well. And really wanted to throw it out there about certain dates that would potentially be good for the Summer Institute. I believe last year we had it in early July, late June, early July. Does that still sound good for folks? Maybe put in the chat if that works. I know a lot of people are hoping to take vacation this summer once people get vaccinated and everything. But we still do want to make sure that people are able to attend. And you can also speak up if you feel what's a vacation. Yes, I agree.
I mean, Juan, hi everyone, this is Antonia. Given that it's July, it's doubtful we'll get 100% of you available, but rest assured that we will record it as we've done in previous years. But we're just trying to maximize everyone's availability and picking the date. I see people are saying early July might be appropriate. We'll see if we can do it on July 4th.
Yeah, I don't think anything happens that day. Right?
I think you all have that day off, right? Just kidding.
Phil's. All right, so yeah, we'll figure something out. I'll probably put out a doodle poll later when I send out the notes to get some more data on that to see when people would be able to attend. But yeah, that would be good. Thank you. And then before I hand it off to Kate to give some updates from Bunker Hill and then open up the floor, wanted to talk about the Opportunity Youth Collaborative that I think a few of you know about. So Kathy Hamilton and Kristen McSwain from the Boston Pick and the Opportunity Agenda, they they applied for a grant in collaboration with Success Boston, and they got a grant to support Opportunity Youth. So these are students who pretty much stopped out of college. They either went to college and then left and are trying to get back. And we're able to get some more people on to bring in to support those students, specifically young men of color. So we're going to be able to hire a few folks, I think, and Kathy has more information on that, so she'll be able to talk a little bit more when she does join. But yeah, just more work to support young men of color, which is I think really important, especially nowadays. And yeah, I think I'll hand it off to Kate real quick, just to go over a few things. And then anybody else who has updates, feel free to speak up.
Thanks, Juan. I sent these to you, now I have to reread them. Tomorrow, Monday, May 10th is the last day to withdraw from classes and from the college. And just a little note about the students taking summer classes, if they want to use their financial aid, if they're new students, they need to change, they want to be accepted for summer 21 instead of a fall 21 accept. And they should just talk to admissions about that. And today from 3 to 5, which is why I called it time sensitive, there's a Mass State University virtual college transfer fair. So it's all the Mass State colleges. You can click on the link at BHCC or that red link. And it might be nice if you have students who are looking to transfer, and even for students who are just interested in Mass State colleges. And finally, in the chat, our P grade information just was listed today on the website. So students in spring 21 can request a P grade, and all of the details about it are listed on this link. So if you have students who don't think they're doing great in a class, but they're passing, they can request a P grade, and that is available until May 28th. And that's about it right now at Bunker Hill. We'll have our coaches meeting May 20th, and we have someone from our Reopen committee will be presenting, so you'll get some information on our plans for reopening, quote, quote, in the fall. And we also have some really new, exciting, we're not calling them articulation agreements, we're calling them guaranteed admission with a number of colleges. So we'll have a presentation on our new guaranteed admission with a variety of schools and a variety of programs. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate. I have 2 questions, not gonna take long. So can you transfer a P grade?
It's a good question. I believe you can, but I don't want to say it for sure. Check that website or email me directly.
Okay.
The P means passing, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you can.
Okay, and the second question is, can new students get financial aid for the summer? Is that something new?
I think it is. This just came out and I sent it to Juan yesterday. Definitely check. They have to have their FAFSA completed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's kind of exciting to get them, especially with our numbers being so low regarding the number of classes students are taking. If we can get them in for the summer, it would be great.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Teresa.
Thank you, Karen, for that info about the P grades being transferable to Mass State universities and colleges, because that sometimes is tricky with certain classes and majors. Like, oh, if you're going to do computer science, make sure that one of your core classes is not a pass fail. So I hope they stay true to that.
In Bunker Hill, in Bunker Hill, you can switch it back within 5 years. A lot of times students do it because they're concerned they're not going to do as well as they thought they were going to do. If they've got a high GPA, they get a little nervous. But at Bunker Hill, you can just go to academic records and request it be reverted back to a letter grade.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that summer financial aid is also great to hear about, because yeah, the earlier the students start, the more credits they get under their belt and get to that finish line. I know I have a few students who I'm still supporting who are finishing this semester at Bunker and then transferring to UMass Amherst. So they've been putting in their time, and yeah, they're finishing up. So I'm really proud of them. But something that they liked was the transfer favor. So yeah, really definitely shout those out. Any other updates from folks before I go into monthly messages? Anybody have anything that they want to share? People are hiring, got some events coming up.
Course hiring, so I'll send out that email to everyone for position.
Is this the Jackson Square thing?
Yes.
All right, cool. Then yeah, if you do want to share something, you can always email me afterwards. Oh, there you go. Mr. Canto, almost my last name. Boston Prep hiring college and alumni counselor. PIC hiring coach. I know at TBF we're also hiring a few folks. So if you know of any students or grads who want to do something, definitely send them our way. We have a few openings. All right, cool. Yeah, just make sure to send me a lot of people hiring. Okay. If you do have those job postings or links to the website, make sure to email them to me so I can put them in the notes afterwards. If I can't, I'm still going to save the chat, so I'll probably just Google them later. But if there's a direct link, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Annabelle. All right. And then monthly messages. So for folks who don't know, we have this, because we have a few new folks. We've been working on this thing called the Resource Sub for a long time. And essentially it's just a page with a lot of resources to support students. We usually break it down by types of students that need the most help or that we have been supporting in the past. Breaks down a little bit, and then monthly messages. So like that's sort of a calendar on how to support students and what comes up most often during these months. Since we're in May, most of the time it's about getting ready for summer term and internships. This is obviously different for this year, but for a lot of students, they're either going to be starting their internships in a few weeks. They're either have been graduating this past week or about to. So just making sure students are also ready about that. And then if you have students who are going to be starting in the summer, making sure that they have they are prepped for that. If they're going to be working, how to balance that work life and school life. But yeah, there's a lot of supports here that people are free to use and share, and hopefully implement in their work. But yeah, that's what we got. And I hit 10:20. Nice. All right, so now I'll be stopping my sharing screen so people can see each other. But we are going to go into a panel about supporting the men of color. So we have Tody Martin, Evans Erlis, and Kenley Val here. I believe everybody's here. Yes, awesome. And they're from, so Kenley is from Roxbury Community College. Tony Martin is from UMass Boston, my brother's keeper, and then Evans is from the Hope Initiative over at Bunker Hill Community College. I think a few of you might know each of them or all of them in different capacities. But yeah, I know I personally wanted to make sure that we had some experts in the space on at the higher ed institutions talking to us about how they're supporting these young men of color, especially as the raw number of those students is going down these past couple of years with the pandemic. So just wanting to learn more from the experts. So wanted to bring them up, and I'll pin them. Let's see. All right, so that's one. Only person here, so gotta make sure to. And where's Evans? There you are. All right, cool. So yeah, just wanted to, we'll briefly do a brief overview of the program and then ask a few questions. But I think Tony, can you just talk a little bit about My Brother's Keeper at UMass Boston and what y'all are doing?
Sure. And can I get the screen? Share screen, please.
There you go. You should be able to do it.
All right. Thank you. Come on. Okay. It's here. All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good.
All right. So I want to share the fact that the reason I was moved to try to put something in place at UMass Boston. Our Black and brown men are graduating at dismal rates of 17%, and while we celebrate a lot of other things, and there are a lot of really good things at UMass Boston, this was the one thing that troubled me, because it's like it's an institution with millions and millions of dollars, all kinds of resources, but yet this one disappointing statistic is just something that I found was not very good, and it moved me to begin working with the mayor's office over two years ago to create partnerships and work to pull something together, and we were able to do that. And I can tell you, we have about 18 guys right now, and what it has done is created first of all a place for them to come together, even though it's a pandemic and we're not on campus, but we have met in person. We've had breakfasts, lunches, and things like that. And in the place when we've met together, what I've learned as a mentor is to shut my mouth. And that's so important, because listen, these guys, if we be quiet, they'll talk. And I mean, boy, do they talk. And I have no idea what they're saying, vibes, no cap in or no caps and all that. But what I've learned is that if we give them a place, a safe space, they will interact. And boy, do they interact. They love each other. The point that if I said absolutely nothing and I paid the tab, they would be perfectly happy. But what that does is it creates trust. And without trust, we're not able to help them. We're not able to lead. They're certainly not interested in what I would have to say. I turned 58 years old this year in March. So trust me, I am not that cool. I don't have I don't have a lot to offer, but I can offer my presence. I can offer my love. I can offer my ears and my leadership. So place is the first pillar that we use to really set things up. Second is purpose, and as I shared with you, the purpose is to make sure that every MBK cohort graduate, and then see we can expand that number. Now, I know this sounds awful simple, but to be honest, if we are going to make a difference, it's got to be simple, down to earth, ideas. Because if it's complicated and then we lose the guys, because if they asking, why are you doing this? Simply because I want to make sure that you graduate. I want to make sure that you have opportunities like everyone else. So what can I do to help you? And with regards to purpose and talking to the guys, I found out that some weren't doing well at all. Others weren't doing well and didn't even know help was available, you know. And then when you listen to these guys, you find out that sometimes, you know, the problems are staggering because, you know, in one case, you know, one of my guys, his mother was in the hospital and, I, you know, they weren't sure she would make it. In the meantime, um, they had no food, they had nothing. But yet the, you know, appearance when you see them and you talk to them, or if you assume, you have no idea what's going on. Another situation, you know, one of the guys end up well actually about three or four got COVID, but one got COVID. He's living in a basement. He's isolated again, no food, he can't work, absolutely nothing. And so uh, you know, my purpose here is, or for us to do whatever we can to make sure these guys graduate. Next is identity, and this is important because our black and brown men do not know that they are valuable, that they are important, that they matter unless we tell them. You know, I mean, you know, it's not always about how many likes you have on you know, IG and all that. I mean, they could have a lot, but they need coaches like us looking them in the eye, telling them they are important. You know, I have a mantra where, you know, I'll tell the guys, you know, individually that, did you know, do you know how amazing you are? And I tell them, I said, I've observed, you know, the following things looking at you. You are articulate, you are immaculate, you're masterful, you're mesmerizingly arresting, you're zealous, you're intelligent, you're endearing, you're innovatively ingenious. You are gracious, exceptional, excellent, brilliant. They need to hear us say that. If you want to reach them, they need to know that when they come around you, that you're helping to uplift them and that you are celebrating them. So, you know, so identity here is really important where we are encouraging the relationship. You know, I mean, if you're Latino from whatever country, you know, I need to see your flag, you know, the background when we're on Zoom, right? Because see that allows us to celebrate our guys, you know, and I have
I think we figured that out. Okay. All right. So thank you, Tony. We'll be able to move on as well to Evans and Canley, because I know all of our programs, we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. And I do want to make sure that we shine a light on everybody else. But I know, Tony, you've been doing some great work with My Brother's Keeper and getting that launched this past year with this first cohort. And Evans, could you talk a little bit about what Hope is doing over at Bunker?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. I'm really thankful and appreciative to kind of share a little bit what we're doing and to learn what everyone here is doing. I think that's really what Hope is about, is really focusing on, you know, it's funny that you introduce us as experts, but truth be told, I think our expertise comes from listening and being active listeners, right? And I think that specific to Hope, it came about several years ago, I think it was 2017 or 2018, when there was a focus on supporting men of color with concerns that were expressed to upper administration. And we need to define what men of color were initially, just to kind of move forward, just because that's kind of a catch-all phrase. And we focus on Black and Latino males because that's the lowest rates of persistence and retention through that K through 16 spectrum. There are conversations about Hope expanding to other underrepresented communities as well, but that's really the focus as of right now. And with that focus has come this understanding of student-centeredness. Everything that we do comes from the student perspective. We use the dialogue series discussions that we have Again, kind of building off what Tony spoke about in regards to having a safe space, or we say a safer space, just because in today's day and age, safe is a relative term, for students to share what they're experiencing and using that as a foundation for prescriptive programming. In those conversations, students spoke about mattering, directly or indirectly. Again, a lot of what Tony was saying, I felt that there's going to be a lot of intersecting dots here, right? And that was used as a foundation for a Welcome Day program. Some of you may have seen it before if you're on BHEC's campus, where we have Black and brown males, dressed in suits or in BHEC attire, just answering general questions during the first opening days of the fall and spring semesters, right? We're able to, and just things of that nature. What we've also been very mindful of is understanding that as approachable and as engaging as I might want to be in regards to trying to promote a safe space or trying to be mindful of forming those connections, whether it's through a transactional component, what class do I need to register? How can I get internet access so I can log on to this hybrid course? It's also that interpersonal dealing, understanding the mental health stresses of having to drop 2 classes and pick up an extra job because your mother has COVID. And just being burnt out at staying at screens all the time and really feeling discouraged from that academic journey through everything, just kind of finding that interconnecting piece. Truth be told, that incentive and that connectivity is better served by students. So we've been able to expand on our program and hire some HOPE ambassadors. They're essentially the student extension piece of the faculty, staff, and administration that engage with the HOPE work and essentially help with various aspects in regards to just resource referrals and things of that nature. As of right now, it's broken down into specific groups. So there's the Data for Impact group, which some of you may be familiar with. And that group is focused on collecting qualitative data from Opportunity Youth, specific to students who are BPS graduates, right? Another group is focused on IPs. IP is an in-progress grade when you don't finish a course by the end of a semester. We have ambassadors in place designed to proactively reach out to students who have the IPs and basically remove barriers, because what HOPE is about is student goal, student here, barriers, trying to eliminate those barriers and allow students to kind of progress towards that pathway, right? So providing resources for academic advising, internet access, laptop rental services, whatever it might be. The next component is graduation. Students who have 45 credits or more, ensuring that they register for the following semester and are able to progress towards that next pathway, whether that means a certificate program, whether that means an associate degree, whether that means transferring to another institution, whatever it might be. Those ambassadors are more concerned with making sure they're aware of the mass transfers, their articulation agreements, some of the advising how-tos, and just ensuring that those students have what they need. And if there are any barriers in place, being able to remove them as they move forward towards that spectrum. So that's some of the work that we're doing in a nutshell, but I want to make sure that as specific to best practices, it's just understanding that at least what has worked for HOPE, and is understanding that I don't know anything. The students are living this experience. They're the ones to educate us in regards to what they're experiencing, and understand that it's our responsibility to learn from them as much as they learn from us. And I think that reciprocal learning really allows us to contour our style of leadership or our style of assistance and of empowering our males more so than taking a top-down approach, thinking that we're the extras because we work in the field or what have you. So that's Cliff Notes type of deal.
Thank you. No, that's amazing. I know HOPE has been around for a little longer, but yeah, I think talking about, like you mentioned, having to identify like who are those students that are going to be focusing on and the reason why. And I think it's similar to Tony, like these are the students who are succeeding at the lowest rates, and we just need to give them some extra support and additional outreach. And that outreach is also something I want to talk about with Kenley. So RCC has been doing some really great work with bringing in those young men of color, and you've been kind of spearheading that work there, and just wanted to pick your brain, like what you've been doing yourself. I know you've been doing a lot of work, and just want to see what we can learn.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone, and thank you all for having me here this morning. So my name is Kenley Val. I'm Assistant Dean of Enrollment over at Roxbury Community College. I oversee a program called the Brotherhood. So it's been around since fall of 2018. I came to the college in December of 2018. And most of those folks who started the program, they're no longer at the college. So now I oversee the program. And I'm gonna run you guys through a little bit what we do. So we meet monthly, we engage with the students, we break bread with the students. And just like my brother Tony Martin said, first things first is meeting the students where they're at, making the students feel comfortable. So the first thing I do is share my story with the students, give them a little bit about my background. So I was born and raised right here in Boston, Massachusetts. I was born in H Block projects. So most people born in H Block don't make it out of H Block. So just that first point of that story, giving them that, then letting them know I was in a shelter as a kid, I was in foster care as a kid, and them being able to connect with that story right then and there, like, oh, whoa. Then you're walking them through your life story. Let them know, just being extremely transparent with the students, and they can feel you right from day one if you're lying. I don't try to be the old head in the room. I try to, like I said, meet them where they're at. I don't try to use big words with them. I try to use my AVE as best as possible, African-American vernacular English for folks who might not know what AVE is. So it's a form of communication. So I know the lingo. I keep up with the lingo. It's a little bit of the research, but sometimes you have to do it. If you want this work to be done, it's part of the research that you have to do. You know what they're listening to, you know what they're wearing. And just like my brother Tony Martin said, you want to reinforce some of those things behind it. Like, good morning, King. I see that nice lineup you got. I see them new kicks you got. Reinforce some of those positive things behind it, because they feel it when it's coming from you. Especially that I look like them, I sound like them, I live in the same neighborhood as them. I see them on a daily basis. I might see them on the weekends at the bodegas. I live right here in Mattapan. Even though I own a house in Mattapan, and they see that, and they see that as a goal as well. So they're like, okay, he still lives right here in the hood. He didn't move out the hood. He didn't change up. He didn't try to become something that he's not. And I try to connect those dots with the students as well. But what we try to do with the students is create this mentoring program with the students to show them that why education is so important. Like as Tony Martin said, 17% of Black males are persisting towards graduation. And at Roxbury Community College, our makeup is 27% male students. So it's a small minority at the college for our already marginalized population. So it's like, how do we target these students directly? So I do a lot of direct programming with them, do outings with them. I'll take them to a Celtics game, take them to a Red Sox game, just try to take them away from all the negative aspects that might be hindering them in life at the time, or just try to remove them from that space. All right, you're doing something's wrong right now in class. We'll talk about that on Monday. All right, but let's go enjoy the Celtics game on Friday. Then I'm gonna be on your back on Monday about why'd you miss this class last week? Why didn't you turn in this assignment? So I stay on top of the students in that aspect as well. The job is busy, it gets tiring, but this is the best part of the job. It's fun. Like, I like going on what we have something called Tiger Paw. So I'm able to see, okay, Tony didn't go to class on Monday. So I'm gonna text Tony, where you at? What you doing? And he's like, oh man, all right, Kelly, I messed up. My fault, I'm coming up to campus right now. Then you make that connection with them. Like I tell them, all of them, don't call me Dean Val. That's not my name. Call me KV. Call me Kelly. Call me Val. Let's make it simple. Like, make that connection with them. I create handshakes with them. Like, I'm one of the guys, essentially, amongst them. And that's the feeling that's the relationship you want to build with them. Because I remember what it was like when I went to college. I went to a private white institution. I went to Regis College. So there wasn't nobody who on campus who looked like me. The first Black professor I had was my junior year. That was literally my first Black teacher I had in my whole entire life, Black male teacher. And that stood out to me. So it's like, I want to make that connection to males a lot sooner. And that's why I'm in the high schools as much as I am now, making the connection with BPS. So I go to all 34 BPS high schools, and I introduce the dual enrollment program, and I target essentially Black males as well, letting them know that they can get free college courses, free credits while in high school. all taken care of by the Commonwealth. And that was something I didn't know about at that age. So it's like when you make that connection with those males, then turns to hopefully better data. And that 17% could then turn to 22%. Then in 10 years, we're looking at 30%. And then the numbers just start going higher and higher. And we start to just meet all those data points that we're trying to get here in the US. And great thing that Joe Biden is doing, trying to make community colleges free. That's just an access point, especially for Black males here in the community. So I'm just trying to do all I can on that aspect as well. But first things first, make the connection with your students, find out who they are, find out what they like, find out, okay, if they don't like English, okay, try to find them another class. Like, find out why they're in that major. If they're in that major because their family is telling them, okay, you got to be in this major. Like I come from a Haitian family, so I was forced to go to nursing school. Why did I go to nursing school? Who knows? So it's like things of that nature. It's like you got to talk to them, find out those things. Dig deeper. There's always a little bit deeper. And don't be afraid to dive deeper. And use up the time, resources, and space that you have.
Thank you, Kelly. I mean, all of you, yeah, talking about that relationships and relating to the young people. I think that's something that when I was coaching the students over at High Square that I would have to do. Like you mentioned, like staying on top of stuff, like listening to the same music sometimes, making sure that you share your background, your history, and tell them that even though you're helping them right now, you came up with similar obstacles and you had to figure out how to overcome those, who to get help from, and things like that. I think something else that I've seen with supporting young men is that a lot of them are proud. They don't want to ask for help. They want to do it on their own. But like being like, I asked for help. I had to ask for help. I was like you. I want to do it by myself. But you gotta be confident enough to say, okay, I can't do this on my own. I need someone to help me out. So right now I'm just gonna open it up for people. If anyone in the audience has questions for folks, for people, but if no one does, I just wanted to ask each of you how students can participate in your program at the Brotherhood or in Hope or in MBK. Do they have to apply, or is it just like you reach out to them? Kelly?
No, sir. So I do targeted outreach. So literally the first week of school, I do a roster full of names. Then I do it then I look at different backgrounds, and then there's also postings all around the campus as well, inviting students. So they get that email invitation. Then there's also invitations around campus. And usually word of mouth as well, from the basketball team or soccer team. That's the majority of the students in the Brotherhood. So there's currently 47 students in the Brotherhood.
And can coaches make referrals?
Yep.
Okay.
Brother Canley and Brother Anthony, I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing in your respective schools. Definitely pray that you continually keep having the strength to do so. Your work goes beyond, what you can possibly even fathom. So I would just say, continue to keep doing what you're doing. And if by any means, we over here at UMass Lowell can help, let us know. Brother Canley, we have a program at UMass Lowell. It's called Males, and it's very similar to what you're doing at Roxbury, where it's, a community of young Black and brown men in which we continue to support them, through the process of college, get them thinking kind of outside of what they can, visually see with their eyes, and look to the future as to, the possibilities of the future, getting them exposure to different things that, will lead to expansion. So, we have that program there that we would love to connect, a little bit more, with your students too. So if they tend to choose UMass Lowell, that they can feel like it's a seamless, handover, and they can feel like they're going from one family to the next, and it doesn't feel like a break. And then we have various other programs too, not only just for the young men, but for the young women of color and the young men of color at UMass Lowell. But definitely Males is a program that kind of seems like it's a pairing of what you're doing just at the next level, at the 4-year institution level. So, we can definitely talk. Feel free to connect with me. My email is right there under my my name. You know me from the road from when we were doing, admissions work. So hit me up, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm actually going to put my email down here as well. I would love to connect.
Thank you, Troy. And this is something I love about this network. People can always make connections and help each other out and try to do that. That's something that I feel like is one of our strengths. Evans, do you all do similar work as RCC where it's outreach, or do the students have to come to you all?
No, there's definitely an outreach component. So it's multi-layered. To be clear, there are no HOPE students. If you're a Black or Latino male, there's outreach made out to you, whether it's by ambassadors, whether it's by faculty and staff, whether it's by email, whether it's by social media posting, whether it's by, I say face-to-face, but we've been remote, but just trying to find those connections and spreading word, ensuring that, we task people with coming through, to bring a friend or bring a couple of friends with them as they come along. Some of our events, might have 10, 12 people, but it's always rotating through. And what's really great is that, maybe those students, because of what they have going on in their lives, aren't able to attend the events when you have them at specific times, but they do read the emails, they do read the updates, because there's a trust that's developed in regards to what you're trying to do, whether it's regards to, scholarship information, course registration information, whatever it might be. So yes, and we do take referrals. If there's a Black or Latino male who is at BHCC, hope@bhcc.edu. Pretty straightforward. They can reach out to us whenever, however.
Pretty good email. And then Tony, I know the My Brother's Keeper program at UMB has a little bit of a different way to get involved, right? The students have to apply, or?
Yeah, the students apply. There's a nomination process, and then students apply, and and then it's vetted. But I think just the application process alone usually gives us a pretty indication, of whether or not the guys are even serious, because it's quite the process, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And I think there was another question.
I think there was one more. So so we got to answer this one pretty quick, because I know we got another panel. But if there's been any successes on how to engage students during the pandemic, so virtually, since we're all doing Zooms or Google Meets, like what has been successful or a good way to reach out to these young people?
I think during the pandemic, well, obviously, I mean, you go where they go, and it's social media, and I have a guy, one of the guys that's really good with that, because most of the kids are exhausted with Zoom, so they don't want to do Zoom anymore. And then, when we can, we have met, obviously observing social distancing and all that, but we have met, for lunch, dinner, whatever.
Thank you, Tony.
I was going to also add to that. So breaking bread with the students is also the best way to do it. So we'll meet once a month as well, and we'll do like an hour of video games. They'll do like 2K, Madden, we'll do Call of Duty. After I'll send everybody a Grubhub $25 gift code for that hour as well. So they'll be able to order themselves food, and they'll play video games with each other, talk trash for that hour, disconnect from college life for that 1 hour, and just connect with other brothers as well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the work you're doing with the students. It's very important, and just happy that they have you all at the higher institutions to keep doing that work. And then, all right, so now we gotta move to our next agenda topic. So we're gonna be talking with a few folks from Career Access. So let me find them on here. Where the heck? All right, so it was easier before. So we got Paige from JBS. I'm gonna pin her. Let's see, where's Abby? Doo-doo-doo. I saw you somewhere, Abby from Bottom Line, and then Tori from Hack Diversity. There we go. Thank you, everybody. All right. So thank you for joining us and helping us out with some career access help. I know that's always a big topic, especially during this time for coaches and for students to figure out, you know, what to do once they finish college, or when they're in their junior year and they're trying to figure out the next steps, or even for grads who have been working in the workspace already but want to do something different, what you all do to help them out. But I think we can start with Abby and Bottom Line. Could you just give a brief overview of the program that you work at, and the types of students they work with? I'm assuming mostly Bottom Line students, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much, Juan. It's a pleasure to be here today and to hear about all the great work that's going on in the community to support our students. My name's Abby Garino, and I'm a Career Connections Coordinator on our Career Connections team at Bottom Line. Before I dive into a brief overview of what we do, I'd love to have everyone engage in just a brief virtual icebreaker. And so if you could gain a Word doc or just a sticky note or a piece of paper that's next to you and a pen, that would be great. And I'll give everyone about 30 seconds to grab that. And if you want to give me like a physical thumbs up or reaction thumbs up when you're all set with your piece of paper, that'd be great. Okay, awesome. And so what I'm going to have us do in this piece of paper is take about 30 seconds, and I want you to draw for me how you were feeling when you began your first job search. That could be your first job search for your first job ever. It could be your first job search after graduating from post-secondary plans, whatever that means to you. And I just want us to draw that out. So I'll give us about 30 seconds to do that. All right, I know that is not nearly enough time, but I'm gonna have us wrap up. And I will show mine to the camera. I don't know how well we'll be able to see it, but I can tell you what it looks like, which is just a bunch of squiggles. Because as I approached my first job search, I said to myself, I have no idea what I want to do, and I feel like I'm going in circles trying to figure it out. So I drew kind of like a corkscrew image. And so I have us complete this activity to kind of think back to what we felt like when we were completing our first job search, so that we can put ourselves in the shoes of our students. And I also want to shout out, I have a couple of my colleagues from Bottom Line here on the call. And so if they have any input as I'm going through our piece today, please feel free to put that in the chat as well. So Bottom Line serves first generation students from low income backgrounds as they get into college, graduate from college, and then go far in life. That motto corresponds to the 3 different areas of our program. We have an access program where we help current high school seniors navigate the college application and financial aid processes. Then we have our success program where we help current undergraduate students navigate their degree, employability, affordability, and any life milestones they might be achieving for up to 6 years after they start their undergraduate studies. And then we have our Career Connections work, which is the team that I sit on, which works with our Success program and our Access program to give students access to experiential learning opportunities and industry-specific insight that's going to help them land that meaningful first career, so that we can turn those corkscrew images that we drew or those circle images into smiley faces, right? That's our goal. at Bottom Line. And on Career Connections, we focus on connecting students to those experiential learning opportunities and that industry-specific insight, which includes job shadows, facilitating connections with partners for internships or entry-level roles, because we know from research that students who have at least one career-relevant experience or exposure to the field that they're interested in are much more likely to gain bachelor's degree level employment after they graduate. And so that's what we focus on. Again, we serve first generation students from low income backgrounds. And as far as credentials that our students need to succeed in the program and the careers that we connect them to, most of our students are pursuing a bachelor's degree, although we do have students who, for a variety of reasons that are unique to them, have chosen to pursue associate degrees as well. And within our programming, we really encourage development of 8 key skills in our students that have been developed by the National Association of Colleges and Employers, or NACE, because we know that these skills like communication, equity and inclusion, technology, teamwork, those are transferable skills that our students will be able to use no matter which field they enter. I once heard someone call these skills that maybe referred to as soft skills or power skills as durable skills, which I really enjoyed because we know that these are the skills that will serve our students throughout their time. And so as far as best practices, one thing that we've been doing with seniors and really with any student who is getting ready to think about where they might want to be employed is the company first job approach. The company first approach is great because many of us on this call I know are working with college seniors who might be ready to launch their careers, or with undergraduate students in any phase of their career who might still be exploring and saying, how do I connect what I'm studying to a role? So this is why the company first job search is great. It's a holistic approach to job searching, grad school searching, internship searching that lets students take a look at the many different factors that are part of their search process, whether that's their commute, whether that's their distance from home, whether that's the people that they work with or professional development opportunities and so much more. And so the company first job approach really allows students to focus on employers that might be a great fit for them instead of just focusing on job titles or program names, because we know that job titles can vary so widely from company to company and industry to industry. So I'd love for us to put in the chat just some quick reasons why it might be beneficial for students to brainstorm employers that they might want to work for versus a job title. And feel free to put those thoughts in the chat. Great. So I'm seeing some things come in. Tangible, motivational company culture. Yeah, for sure. Right. The company first job approach helps our students see if the company that they are applying to is a good fit for them, and helps them get a grasp on those intangibles that sometimes are not visible via job titles. And skills are more transferable across various jobs rather than zeroing in on a job title. Yep. Empowerment, right? Great. Yeah, all of these things are so true. And we know that throughout our journeys as professionals, we've also identified fit factors that are important to us, whether that's things like, again, commute time, the benefits that a company offers, the company culture, ability to explore an industry instead of a role you get stuck in. Yes, all of those reasons. So what I'm going to do is post in the chat an article from the Muse, which we on the Career Connections team at Bottom Line love to use as a resource that highlights the benefits of a company first approach. Feel free to share this with any students at any stage that might benefit from a similar approach. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Abby. Probably going to ask you a follow-up question in a bit, but I do want to transfer over to Tori with Hack Diversity. Now it's a little bit different than what a lot of our coaches are used to, because you all mainly work with folks who are already in the workspace post-grad. But yeah, wanted to learn a little bit more about your work and what kind of opportunities you connect students with.
Sure. Thanks for having me. So hi, everyone. My name's Tori. I am the Associate Director of Curriculum and Community for Hack Diversity. We, as Juan said, do work with folks getting into the workforce, but actually start with folks when they are in college, so or in a boot camp program or self-taught learners. So one of the kind of main facets of our approach is that we're education agnostic. So we really believe that however you come to get involved with the tech industry works for us. We try to sort of dismantle the concept that there are a really narrow range of schools that grant access to jobs or paths that grant access to good jobs, but trying to find folks who have the motivators and the interest to get there, regardless of how they do it. So we are specifically focused on increasing representation for Black and Latinx folks in the tech ecosystem. Right now, primarily in the greater Boston area, but hoping to continue to grow that reach. But we look for candidates who have at least a few years of tech experience. So we are not a boot camp in that we don't train on technical skills. We don't teach folks coding, but we're looking to find folks who have already identified that as a field of interest for themselves, taken some classes or done a boot camp or watched YouTube videos, found online resources, whatever kind of gets them there, but who are looking for support in making that jump into their first professional experience. So into an internship is where we start. And the way that our program works is folks come to us, we open our application in July, and they apply by sharing details about why they're interested and what their background is in tech. And then we interview folks and go through our enrollment period to set people up to start the program in January for onboarding, and then in earnest in February. And the fellowship program runs from February through August, with the February through May programming being part-time, usually on top of school and work for most folks. But that is a series of workshops and professional development training opportunities, one-to-one mentor match, interview prep, lots and lots of interview prep, and then opportunities to interview through our host company partners for paid summer internships within the Boston tech sector. So we recruit students in software engineering, data analytics, and mechanical engineering, and are looking to be able to place them into great companies who really care about creating an awesome first experience for our talent. The students are guaranteed access to interview if they meet the benchmarks of the program. And then we have over a 95% placement rate of fellows in the program. We try not to guarantee internships because we think that it's important that we communicate that there are milestones and responsibilities that a fellow needs to hit to be able to intern. And ultimately it is up to the company to confirm that they're excited to hire that fellow. But we do quite a bit of engineering behind the scenes to make sure that our placement rate is really, really high. And then many of those will convert into permanent opportunities or return internships for folks who are returning to school. If they do not convert into a full-time role or a return internship, the fellows are always part of the Hack Diversity Alumni Network and can continue to work with Hack, their mentors and fellow alum who have come before them to enhance their professional networks, get connected to companies, attend events, all of that good stuff. And then one of the parts of our program that we really care deeply about is making sure that the companies we partner with are a good fit for the talent that we support. So we require all host companies to go through a series of racial equity, diversity, and inclusion trainings concurrently with the fellow programming. So as we're working with fellows throughout the year, we're also working with companies to ensure that they are building in inclusive practices from the point where they're pitching to our fellows all the way through. Once you have a fellow, how are you onboarding them? How are you making sure that they're really well supported, set up to be sponsored in the company, and ultimately, hopefully promoted or hired once they're there, so that there is a focus all the way from pitching to retention of underrepresented talent within these companies. And if companies aren't able to demonstrate that commitment or readiness to host early career talent, we don't partner with them. So we take it really seriously that there's more to it than just trying to diversify the folks coming into your company, but that you really have to be committed to creating a culture that sets them up for success in the long term. So that's sort of the model that we work with. And trying to think of other key details for our students. We are constantly looking to generate more applications. We really like to hear from anyone who might be interested. We are constantly growing, so we are not hyper competitive in terms of getting in. If someone is eager and a really self-motivated learner, we usually are able to find a spot for them unless they are totally green in technology. So folks with no experience, we recommend either do some sort of coursework, boot camp, online learning, and then come back to us. But there is not a sort of benchmark for success where folks have to be really strong in coding or really advanced to be able to jump in. We like to get a wide array of students involved in our programming every year. And I'll stop there. That's a bit of our shtick.
Thank you, Tori. I think the piece about partnering with those companies that are going to make an effort to actually support the people that are coming in and not just like meet a certain benchmark or quota or whatever. I think that's important because you can diversify a company by encouraging your graduates to enter into that space. But if they're going to burn out in a year or two, like what is that going to do? So that's awesome.
And we leverage their data and their voices really intentionally. So as we ask students to tell us before they start the program, what do you know about these companies and do you have a favorable impression of them? We ask them after the company's pitch, what do you think? What changed for you? Did they reach you? Did they speak to things that were important to you and where you're coming from, your concerns or needs? After the interview process, we ask if that process felt inclusive and supportive. And then after the onboarding process, we ask again, and we are providing that data to companies so that they can see compared to their peers in the industry how well they are or are not supporting talent. And we've learned that can have some really powerful impacts. So last year, for example, we told a company that they were underpaying by comparison to the other companies in our network, and they increased the hourly rate for their intern that summer by $5 on the spot, just by learning that data point. So really cool to see the power of using that information, pushing on companies and creating both a good experience for the fellows, but also just for anyone coming into those companies to kind of see their commitment to this work.
That's awesome, Tori. Thank you. And last but not least, Paige from JVS. So for those folks, I'll let you introduce JVS, but one of the, if not the best workforce development org in Boston, and just wanted to bring in Paige from their career access team to talk a little bit about their program and how they work with students and grads.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Juan. And thanks for that warm introduction. First, want to especially say thanks to the first panel, Evans, Tony, and Kenley. I think Evans, you said coming with the spirit of learning is a huge part of this. And I've already learned a lot. So thanks to that first panel for sharing everything you did. So yes, I'm coming from JVS Boston. For those who aren't familiar, we're a workforce development agency situated in downtown Boston, though very much remote at the moment, as with all of you. And we've been maintaining 100% of our programming remotely, which has been really exciting because we have a lot of different programs that we support. JVS is a workforce development agency, but I speak specifically from our academic services department, which houses 2 education programs. And I serve as the career services manager in that department. So it's really sitting at this critical intersection for all of us of education, workforce, career, and keeping our clients and students in mind and how they're navigating that intersection. So within our education services, we have an adult high school diploma program in which we partner with Boston Public Schools, which is really cool. And I mention that because it's actually one of our feeder programs to our Bridges to College and Careers program. We've really tried to think about how can we help make college credentials, college degrees accessible to a lot of different people. One of them is through this adult diploma program, and then also from the community as well. In our Bridges to College and Careers program, we work with a lot of people from low-income communities, a lot of people from immigrant communities who aren't native English speakers, and mostly with adults. I would say our average age is probably around 40. We're really working with people who have a lot of life experience typically, but also with young people as well. There's quite a diversity in a lot of different ways, age-wise, experience-wise, backgrounds, educations, industries people may or may not have worked in. There's kind of a real wide open door for folks in terms of the Bridges to College and Careers program. We have 3 different pathways people select from, kind of based on if they have a particular interest when they're coming to us, because really the way we kind of look at college credentialing is, college is great. Education is a huge resource and a huge lift for folks, but usually it's a means to an end, trying to build a stable life for themselves and for their families, increase earning, creating a good career path that they feel fulfilled by. And so we're always kind of keeping our eyes on the prize in terms of that long-term career, job placement, development. And so when folks come and they express interest in the program, they may or may not have an idea of what that career path looks like. And so we kind of try to help them navigate and choose from our programs, one of which is biotechnology. We have a program where we partner with Quincy College's biotechnology and GMP certificate, GMP, good manufacturing practice. And folks stay with us and then transition to Quincy College for that certificate program. And they're actually going on to work at places like Moderna and Pfizer and making vaccines. And it's absolutely incredible and hugely rewarding for them and really good stable jobs as well. So it's one of our pathways. Another is our business technology pathway, kind of an IT bent. We've recognized there's this pretty big intersection between business and technology and folks who kind of have an interest in both of these items. And so we help people prepare for college degrees and careers within the business and tech sector. A lot of them going into maybe a business management major or maybe IT help desk or engineering role. And with that, we partner with Bunker Hill Community College. Bunker Hill's been an amazing partner for us for that program. And then our third pathway is general studies, which is kind of a catch-all for anything else someone might be interested in, or if they have no idea, that is also totally great. We do a lot of career exploration with folks when they come to us. They are at JVS doing classes for about 23 weeks, which is like a pretty hefty amount of time. We really do a lot of preparation to make sure they're ready to enter the college atmosphere and be successful. Because we know maybe people have been to college before and not had a great experience, or maybe they've never been to college before in the US or otherwise. And we know that there's a lot of different barriers that can come up around just the application, doing the FAFSA, making sure you're registered for the right classes that are going to work with your work schedule, and that you've thought through the childcare that you're going to need for while you're in class or at work. We work through a lot of that and take a really wide approach to making sure success for the student is going to be high on everyone's priority list. So we support people through those 23 weeks with JVS and then successfully transitioning them to college and supporting them all throughout college, making sure things are going well. They've done their FAFSA again next year. They've registered for that next round of classes. They're wrapping up all of the loose ends from the semester, anything like that. Maybe they need a new job because they have to take this one class, and their work schedule is not working out. We're kind of coming at this from all angles because we know there are so many places it can go wrong. So many places where people can get tripped up and then they stop out and they stay out and they don't re-enter the college system. And right now, a college education is so important for so many different jobs, especially long-term. And so we want to make sure people feel like that's achievable. We want to support them through that process. And then when it comes to the end of the college education, job searching is at the forefront. Myself and my career coaches, we work with students individually to make sure their resume is ready to go. They're prepared for interviews. We have mock interviews available. JVS has an amazing group of employers that we partner with as well. So we're able to kind of connect folks to those partner employers as well as other employers too. We know people walk in with some really exciting ideas about what they want to do and where they want to work, and we're there to support that goal and that dream for their career. And we'll support them not just in the first job, but actually throughout their career and job search, what we're calling career advancement. They're basically with us for life at this point. We're talking a multi-year process because we also realized that once people start in their job, 30, 60, 90-day retention, then, annual reviews come around and that's really confusing. How do I negotiate for a raise? Can I apply for this promotion? How do I go about doing that? There's so many ways we can help people level up once they start that first job. And we know that long-term careers is what people so much yearn for, and we really want to support that dream.
Thank you, Paige. That was great. That's amazing. I didn't know about the biotech certificate. That's pretty awesome stuff. I know we do have probably till 11:25 to make sure we're open, but wanted to really double down or check on the access points for the program. So I know with Bottom Line, pretty much have to be a student, and Abby and your team, you all reach out to an additional support to the advisors. But for Hack Diversity and JVS, like what are the access points for people to join the program? So Tori, I'm assuming people apply, and when you said it was due in July?
Yep. So we will launch our application in July, actually, and then it'll be open throughout the middle of the summer and into the fall. We are going to have an early application process. So for folks who are really eager and they know that this is what they want to do, it's a great option for especially folks who are anxious about securing something for the following summer. The go-getters look at that early application process because you will get reviewed earlier, and then we're hoping to be able to confirm placement sooner so that by the time folks go back to school for the fall, they would know their plans for the year and the following summer, which is really cool. But then we do keep it open in the fall so that we're able to hit some career fairs at schools when folks return to campus, attend classes, all that good stuff. But we will have the application go live, and then we will be working with our talent partners or the schools that we partner with typically to find places in classrooms, in advising groups, in clubs. If any of you think that it would be great to have HACC representing at a location anywhere we can get in front of students, we are glad to set something up virtually to be able to drop in and share more. We'll also have application help sessions and recurring info sessions that people can join. Best way to keep track of our timelines is our social media. So following us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, we really are pretty regular about communicating all of the things that are going on, all the events that students can attend. And then we're always happy to set up check-ins with anyone who might want to learn more about the details so that you can present it to students that you might be talking to.
Cool, thank you. And Paige, so I know the program is 23 weeks, and then like you said, there's support afterwards, but when are the entry points for those?
Yeah, and actually I meant to mention this, so thank you for reminding me, because we're actually recruiting right now for our July cycle. So we run 2 cohorts a year, one starts in January and one starts in July. And so I'm gonna drop the link in the chat as well as my email. I am not in charge of recruitment, but I'm happy to answer questions if you get tripped up on anything. And on that link, you'll see there's actually some videos, there's information about how to apply. So it's a really great web page even to look over with a student, I think, if they're maybe just trying to get a sense of it's the right fit for them. In terms of eligibility, all that's needed is a high school diploma from the US or anywhere actually. You know, other than that, there's not much in terms of qualifications. A lot of our coaches, you know, once the application comes through, we'll talk with folks about the schedule and things like that. But they just need to be able to produce a high school diploma because, you know, they'll be applying for college. And so we'll need that to help them with the application process.
Awesome, thank you, Paige. And if folks in the audience have questions that I missed, or maybe they have for their specific groups or people, feel free to unmute yourself and speak up. All right, cool. Well, thank you all. I'll make sure to include all this information in the chat, in our notes. And I really do appreciate you taking some time and talking to us about your programs and some of the work that you're doing. I think it's so important, especially with the career access space, to know that it's not just about preparing the students for success, but also making sure that you're connecting with companies and employers to help the students make that culture fit them, not the students fit the culture. So just appreciate all the work you're doing, and thank you so much. All right, so let's see. All right, so this was pretty much it for this meeting today. Thank you to all the panelists once again. I'm gonna have a few more minutes to prep for June 2021. So in this, for next month, I'm hoping to focus mainly on supporting students in the recruitment process and connecting them with coaches, but wanted to see from folks if there's anything else that you want to cover, if you want me to bring in some folks from different organizations to do a panel. I know I've gotten some in the past like that have wanted to focus on young men of color, and then we're able to talk with some folks like Kenley and Evans and Tony. So if you have suggestions, feel free to let me know, put in the chat or email me later. But yeah, that's what we got today. All right, thank you, everybody. I will let you all go. Have a great rest of your day, and see y'all soon, hopefully.
Juan, can you stay on with me a sec?
Oh, for sure.
I'm so sorry, I just joined.